Oh, coffee time. Coffee time. Tablet. Coffee. We got this. Come on. No, come back. Come on. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Today is Friday, December 13th. Friday the 13th, 2019. My name's Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Super good. So good. So good. Well, what can I say? Friday, right? It's been the end of a busy week, or it is the end of a busy week. Uh, what's going on? What was yesterday? Yesterday was a couple meetings. Yesterday was pretty darn productive. Bunch of client work, bunch of Whistlekick work. We got some new apparel that we're working on with the new designer. And I'm just generally stoked with everything that's going on. The new batch of gear, foam gear, is delayed again for reasons that have nothing to do with me. So that's frustrating. There's some frustrating personal stuff happening that I'm working to let go of that I'm not going to talk about because I don't need to talk about it. I need to work on moving on from it. Because if you can't change it, you move on from it. And I can't change it. So, doing some training this weekend. Looking forward to that. My family's doing their holiday gift giving this weekend. And we're doing something different this year, something that I'm kind of excited about. I don't know how broadly known the idea of a Yankee swap is, but the idea is that everyone brings a gift and you draw numbers and the first person picks a gift and unwraps it, and then the second person can pick a gift or steal that gift, and it keeps going until everybody's gone. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And so what we've decided to do, because the family gift giving keeps getting bigger and more expensive, is we're doing high stakes Yankee swap. So we had a $50 limit. I went to Costco, I got something, and I'm not gonna say what I got because there are a couple people in the family who might be watching this show at some point between now and then. But I'm pumped about the gift. I think it's something that everyone would enjoy, which is hard because you've got broad ages. And it's something that I would love to get back. So, yeah. What did I get in the Yankee swap last week? Oh, scratch tickets. We had a $15 limit, and I ended up with $24 in winnings from scratch tickets. So I'll take it. I'm up $9. That's pretty cool. My gift is not a bunch of scratch tickets. I don't want to work today. I just want to hang out. I worked really hard the last 2 days, and I got a lot done. Now I have more to get done. Not a ton. Not a ton to get done. There was an unintentional rhyme. It happens all the time. Sometimes I think I'm clever, but most people probably don't. That's fine. It's Friday, and we got a joke. So Frank wrote in with a joke. So where's that? Did you hear about Try reading all the words, Jerry. Did you hear about how Santa only used 8 reindeer last year? Comet stayed home to clean the sink. Oh, frack, that one's terrible. But in a great way. I love it. We had some good questions. Thanks. Yeah. We have, it appears, just based on word choice and patterns, looks like we have 3 questions from 3 different people, which is pretty cool. That's never happened before, to my knowledge. Or rather, to my memory. I had tacos last night. What else can I tell you? I had tacos. That was great. And that's it. That's it. All right. Let's start with the questions. Let's dig in. All right, this question comes in from Nish. In hindsight, what do you feel like your best and worst decisions were when you ran your Whistlekick tournament back in 2016? Wow, coming up on 4 years. So 3.5 years ago, we hosted a tournament. And it was well attended for a first year tournament. It was just shy of 200 competitors, which in our area, a first year tournament, I mean, there are plenty of tournaments that have been going for years that don't have that kind of attendance. So we did a lot of things really well. I offered a lot of incentives to get people to sign up early. For example, there were 3 or 4 drawings where I just mailed people back their entrance fees. If you were signed up by this date, you would get admission. You know, if you signed up by this, let's say I think we had a date, let's say of December 31st, so the tournament was in April. If you signed up by the end of the year before, you paid less money, and everybody who was in a raffle to get their money back. And if you didn't win, your name stayed in for the next drawing, a month later. And that encouraged people to register early, which is important for 2 reasons. 1, if somebody signed up, they're going to come. And 2, it helped with cash flow, because most tournaments run at a loss until the day of the event. And there's a lot of stuff to buy. There's fees for the space, and we had a breaking tournament component, so there was a lot of wood to buy. There's just a ton of stuff to buy. So it helped facilitate the cash flow, which was good. One of the worst thing is that I tried doing a lot of things differently, too much differently. And not everyone bought into my vision, and you can't have dramatic change involving other people unless they buy in. And so when it came time to implement things, it did not go well. Some of the things that I thought would take, a certain period of time took far longer. It just didn't go the way I wanted it to. So we had to make some pretty big changes on the fly. And that led to a lot of reflection, and ultimately writing a book that I don't talk about very often, called How Not to Hold a Martial Arts Tournament. And it's on Amazon. You can get it Kindle, paperback. And it's all about marketing events, how to put together and market a successful event. And of course, it's focused on martial arts, but it could apply to just about any kind of event. So if you are in marketing, if you market events or want to, it'd be worth checking out. And what it led to was what I call the 15% rule. Do not, year over year, don't change more than 15%, 15% of something. Because if you botch that 15%, you're still okay. But more than likely, you'll have some of the new stuff work out. So you're still probably, getting 90% to perfect. So, okay. Good question. Will I have another tournament? Maybe. Maybe someday when I have more help and it makes sense. But right now, no. There's a stereotype for a dancer that they look a lot like a classically trained ballerina, but people often accept that there are different yet equally valid styles of dance. How can martial arts get to a similar point where styles are different but accepted for their strengths and weaknesses? Easy, or I should say simple. Um, we stop trashing each other's styles. That is the only way that happens. How do we stop trashing each other's styles? Accept that yours is not the best. Accept that they're different. You can say mine is best for such and such purposes, but even that is far too arrogant. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Everyone needs to stop acting like it matters. You could construct the dumbest style the worst style of martial arts ever invented. Put a great instructor and dedicated students into that system, and they would be better in competition, in real life situations, etc., than most people. It's not the clothes, right? It's not the techniques. It's the people and how hard they're willing to work. And so many people forget that because so many people are afraid of making the wrong choice. If the style that you're not training, if the style you're training in isn't the best, well, then you have to accept that you could have made a choice that would have been better for you. And most people aren't willing to do that because their egos are so fragile that to find out there's something that might have worked equally well or better means that they, in many people's definition, they failed or they made a bad choice. And since we're all the hero in our own story, we will do whatever we can to construct a reality where we remain the hero. It's just training. It just makes us better. It's all it's for. How much of a role do you think teaching multiple dance styles in the same school contributes to that last question, to that idea that they're accepted as being, let's say, different but equally valid? I think that has a lot to do with it. And you see more and more martial arts schools teaching multiple styles. What I don't see terribly often is those styles being taught in distinct classes by different instructors. Now that's changing. That's happening more and more. I can think of, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I know of 3 schools where I have friends and they have multiple martial arts programs taught by different martial artists. And some people train in one, some people train in others, some people train in multiple. And I suspect that there is less judgment and rank ordering of the different styles in those schools. But I don't know. Because in one of the 3 that I know of, I know 2 of them pretty well. And there's definitely one class, one style that at least from my outside perspective, seems prioritized, seems to have more attendance, more, it's just given a higher priority by the owners. Interestingly enough, both of those schools are Kempo. That's not to make a judgment of Kempo, it's just interesting. But I suspect that is helpful. I suspect having a school say, hey, you can come here, you can learn this style of karate, and you can learn taekwondo, and you can learn jiu-jitsu, and you can learn Krav Maga. We run separate classes at separate times throughout the week. A lot of people think that Whistlekick has a martial arts school as a component, and we don't. And honestly, never will in the traditional sense. Because everything we do here is about unifying and bringing people together. And what I don't want is people to see Whistlekick as competition to their own martial arts programs. But what I have considered, what I would like to do someday, is operate space for martial arts schools and take away some of the concerns of dealing with leases and potentially marketing. Imagine that you've got, one area where, there are half a dozen martial arts schools and, they've all got their own space and they're doing their own thing. Well, what if those schools essentially went in together on a building? And that building could have had, 4, 5, 6 different training spaces. But shower areas and locker areas and maybe a weight room and a front desk and maybe you sign in with a key card or something when you go through, and then Whistlekick could handle the billing, right? From my conversations with martial arts instructors, most of them just want to teach. So what if Whistlekick did the rest of it? That's an interesting idea. That's something that down the line, the road line, we would look into. I have no idea if it would work. I'm not committing to it. Gabe's saying they have places like that in Japan. Cool. I was unaware of that. But yeah, it makes sense. It sounds really fun. And I suspect it would make everything better. A rising tide lifts all ships, that kind of thing. And a lot of times people will look at something like that and freak out. Oh, but, then competition and too much competition. Well, tell you what, if McDonald's is going to build a new location, where do they put it? Next to a Burger King. Why do they do that? Because it makes more money for everybody. There's a reason fast food restaurants are all next to each other. You can apply the same thing to any type of business. So there are no plans for that. Just an idea. We'll see how it plays out. Gabe's writing car dealerships too. Absolutely. Yeah, there's something to that, and we don't have to go into all that. But. All right, so it's the weekend, so no homework, because homework over the weekend stinks. Throw it back to school. All right. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. We do the show every weekday morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, here on YouTube. There are still sales running for Whistlekick. You still have time to get gifts. If you're looking for last-minute Christmas gifts, don't order shoes. the company that's doing our shoes, because all of our apparel is done on demand. Company doing our shoes is taking like 4 to 6 weeks right now. We have to put some kind of notice up on the store for that. Got another email last night. Where are my shoes? If you want to ask a question, drop it below. I'll answer it Monday. My brain's fuzzy if you can't tell. Check out the Martial Artist Handbook. The Kindle edition should be live right now. The paperback's definitely live. You can order it. It looks like it's taking 3 to 4 days to arrive, based on what people are telling me. If you want an autographed copy, I've almost sold out of the first batch that I ordered to autograph. Those actually might be here today. So check those out. Check that out. Whistlekick.com is the only place to get the autographed copy. And that's all I got. So I'll see you back here Monday. Have a great weekend. Take care. Peace.